Mm-hmm. 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 Hello. Welcome in. I'm going to let you guys filter in to the chat room. Actually, we're going to do this. Boink. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I know. I just kind of dropped it on you because I didn't go live when I was supposed to go live. But we're here now. We're here now. We're going to let you guys filter in. Shay. Depp, what up? How we doing? I'm going to actually zoom in on this a little bit. Everyone else, so I can actually see the chat room. Move this over here like that. We have made some adjustments. Need this pen? So hopefully today is a little bit better. You know what I need? I need some intro background music. That's what I need. I'm going to write that down. Intro background. Like something just, to play behind me right now. 49 days till opening day. 59 days till opening day? That's crazy. You're in 1080p? Dude, hell yeah, Chris. 38 months. 38 months in a row. Shay Lars, welcome back to the team on Twitch there. Thank you for the resubscription. Appreciate that. Whole bunch. Whole lot. Whole lot. B-Hatch. Back for 3 months. B-Hatch, welcome back to the stream also via Twitch. Hello. What up, Europa? Hello, YouTube. Guys, anyone coming in from YouTube or actually from Twitch, go to the YouTube stream, hit the little thumbs up so that people can find it because it's very hard to find. It's very, very hard to find. Guys, we have so many great things to get into today. Before we do that, though, got a couple housekeeping things, just a couple quick things, but I'll let you guys roll in. Subjects today include Steve Cohen versus Scott Boras, though they've already had their battles in the past. There's one specific that seems to be not going as well as the other ones. We're also going to talk about Alex Bregman's free agency. Pete Alonso is obviously going to be talked about in that first thing I mentioned. We're going to talk about Ryan Presley and the Cubs. Some information there going on. We had Ichiro get into the Hall of Fame. Talk a little bit about that. And then we had a brand new owner because we can't go a week without an owner complaining about money. So, but hey, it's good for business because I get to sit here and I get to complain about them. So, mission accomplished. And then our main story today, or actually our main activity, because we're turning into like some interactive activities, which I'm going to need your guys' help. We're going to assemble an 11-man team, aka, or actually 10 men. Sorry, that was bad math on my part. 3 outfielders, all of the other positions, 1 starting pitcher, a DH, one relief pitcher, and 1 closing pitcher. Building a team with those 10 guys. Actually, no, that's 11. No, that's good math. I did good math. Is it 12? I don't know. I think it's 12. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10. It's freaking 10, dude. It's freaking 10. No, it's not. It's 12 because there's 3 outfielders. 12. We're going to pick 12 guys and see how good of a team we can make with 1 year of Juan Solo's salary. That's $51 million. How good of a team? Basically, we're going to be the Cleveland Guardians plus $10 million. Vanessa, what up? You old school. Sup? Good to see you. Good to see you. What's going on? Not much here, man. How are you doing? How are you doing, dude? How's everybody doing? How was your weekend? Who's getting excited for baseball? I can only watch the Buffalo Bills and not be given half a yard so many times in a row. You know what I mean? By the way, about football, because, I know you guys like sports, so you're watching football as well. You know what's interesting? There's like a statistic out there where the quarterback marches down the field. It's like with less than 5 minutes left in the game. down by 7 or less points in order to either tie or take the lead. Like tying or taking the lead with that kind of deficit in their career. And Drew Brees was like 50%, and Tom Brady was like 60%, which is a great rate. Russell Wilson's like 60%, which are all like, these are some of the greatest things. Pat Mahomes is perfect, and he just did it again for 8 for 8. He's 8 for 8 in those drives. That's fucking insane, man. That is incredible. Can you imagine? So if Pat Mahomes wins another Super Bowl, he's probably the best quarterback ever. And it's insane to say that for me, or at least he's on track. He needs a huge body of work, obviously, to pass Tom. But like, can you imagine Tom Brady retires 1 year later? Like, there's already discussion if there's a guy better than him. Like, that's crazy. Damn. What up, Shanes? What's up from New Zealand? What's up, bro? We're going to have some fish and chips, bro. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I try to do an accent. I appreciate you being here. Hello. Sup, bro? There it is. It's right there in the chat. Nice. I don't feel so stupid. 'Twas Twins Fest weekend last weekend. Ooh, Simeon Words Richardson may be the most delightful human on earth. I exist. What the heck? He's good with the microphone? Good. Thank God. More guys that are good at that, man. More guys that are good. Welcome to Mayday, January 27th edition. We are almost in February, which is almost March, which is almost opening day. So get excited. I'm doing good, Grizzle. If the Eagles lose to the Chiefs again, I might cry. Hey, the Eagles, though, look real good. I don't know. They have Saquon now. You know what I mean? That could be the difference. It's blown away. It's crazy, though, like, I feel like the the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens all could have very easily won it all this year. So Brady was dominant. Mahomes is lucky. I don't think Tom Brady's as dominant as you remember him being. They are extremely similar, like really, really similar. It's all about being clutch. They're both so incredible in clutch. Like, you just don't want them to have the ball as the opposing quarterback, right? It's about possession. You just keep the ball out of their hands because they're going to score. Like, you just can't, like, you know. So I think that they're very good. But like, there was games where, you know, Tom threw for 150 yards and one touchdown, one you know, whatever, and made the comeback, but scored the touchdown at the right time. But he wasn't that like dominant. Yeah, I don't know. There was times. But I wouldn't go so far as to say the guy who's 8 for 8 in those type of drives is lucky. I don't know if it's quite to that level, but it is looking pretty fishy. It's starting to look pretty fishy. But we're not a football show here, guys. We are a baseball show. It just happens to be January. I tweeted this out that the show is on. So, and then the tweet that is being suggested to me right below is a photo of the owner of the platform doing the throwing his heart out to the people. So I'm going to close that because I cannot watch that anymore. Cannot participate in that conversation anymore, or I will pull my eyes out of my skull. I would say their teams are very well put together as well. So there's a lot of luck in that. You're like with football, you can't just, you know, there's a whole side of the field that you're not even involved in, right? Like your offense has nothing to do with your defense for the most part. So like you have to have both things. Half of your team can't suck, or your team isn't very good. How weird is that, by the way? If you're an offense, you're like, we're the best offense in the league, but your defense is awful. So you guys are like, yeah, you're a fine team, and you're just like, what the? It's how do you not just blame the other group all the time? I don't know. Respect the officials and they respect you. Yeah, more or less. I don't think there's just a conspiracy, but I do think that generally, honestly, I think that they tend to not give the full yards people get all the time, and they tend to be. It's just the moments when they're biased is the issue. How's little man? He's doing well. He's big. My boy is getting big, 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 big. He is thick. He's a unit. But he's doing good. He's not too fat. not too fat. To be honest, there's one fat person in our house, and his name is Trevor. Shout out to the person who commented on last week's YouTube video on Unwritten Rules that, quote, I believe, actually this is paraphrasing, but you look bloated, take care of yourself, or you should take care of yourself. And I replied, damn. I mean, you're right, but damn. Damn. All right. Couple announcements before we get into our main show, our main event, if you will. New podcast episode is up again, by the way. The Cut on the Diamond Pod is a brand new episode every single Wednesday. Guys, it is going to be very hard for me to keep ahead of this, but I just recorded another episode with another player of ex-teammate of mine. I have another one scheduled for next week with a very interesting guest that I think you guys are going to really love. But last week's was Vinny Pasquantino. I got to sit down with the Pasquatch. We talked about things from him being a theater kid and being in The Hobbit to who are the underrated players in the league, in his opinion, and who was his big starstruck moment of like, oh, shit, I'm in the big leagues. It's a great listen. Vinny is an awesome storyteller, and he is always fun to talk to. He just really enjoys playing baseball, and he genuinely loves the life. So, we didn't know each other before that. I'd never spoken to him in person before that, and he loosened right up, man. It was great. This week we have Alex Vesia joins the show, so go subscribe to that anywhere you listen to podcasts. And I believe on Spotify you can leave comments now. So if you listen on Spotify, please do that, guys. Every listen helps. We're trying to grow this thing. We're having a lot of fun with it. Please. Cut on the Diamond. COTD pod on social media. Thank you so much. Bryce Harper wants to be you so bad. Him cooking, dude. By the way, Bryce Harper, I will give him I have a new segment. There is going to become a new segment, which I just forgot to do it for this week because there was a lot going on. But we are going to highlight an athlete's social media presence every week and give you a little rundown on who you should follow, because I think more people mean more love, Okay. All right. Also coming up, Patreon is going to be available starting next week. Patreon is going to be all of the extra crap I've done in the past, where it's breakdowns, giving out like when I use templates and stuff for like scouting reports, all kinds of crap. I'm going to make it all available on Patreon. And you're going to get every single thing you get for subbing on these two platforms as well. So if you already sub here, you're good. But if you want to have additional stuff from me, I have tons of plans. I will demonstrate it and show it to you all next week when it's really laid out and finished. But I've come up with a bunch of extra stuff that I already do that I don't know how to give it to you. And there's going to be a bunch of Discord stuff. It's going to be great. So just keep your eye out for that. And there'll be a bunch of different tiers. And obviously it's never, it's not mandatory ever, but I do appreciate it. If that is something you're interested in, then it'll be there for you. I appreciate it. We have a question before we get into the Discord into the news. And I want to actually bring this up first. This is a great question. Hey, Trevor, do you ever consider playing in a Latin Winter League during your career, especially while in the minors? No. And not because I don't think it's good for you or that you can get better, but I was always a big proponent of rest, but I've said this a few times. I'm going to say it again. I absolutely hated the having to be away all the time, and that was just more. I think that it's a good idea if you're out there trying to get seen, trying to work on something specific, and you need to play at a high level baseball to do it. But yeah, I never had any interest in going to the Latin leagues just because it was just it was just year round, and I'd never wanted to play a sport year round. I needed a break mentally more than physically, frankly. I retired early for that reason, and I like doing this. And also, had I played Latin ball, I wouldn't have grown any of this. I wouldn't have gotten better at this. I wouldn't have been able to practice. So I don't regret it, but it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. All right. Also, join the Discord, guys. That's discord.gg/Trevor May or !Discord in either one of the chats. It'll give you the link directly there. Join it. We talk about baseball. If you got questions for the show in the future, I get a lot of them from there. So you'll see later in this show where I get that stuff. All righty. Let's talk about a little bit of the news. That's not the breaking news segment noise, but it's a step in the right direction. We have a lot of news to cover today and not so much time to cover it. In our first piece of news, Steve Cohen. A lot of you may know him as Uncle Steve, the owner of the New York Mets. Recently at the Mets Fan Fest, answered some. Actually, it wasn't necessarily a question. He addressed a chant of "We want Pete, we want Pete" from the fans as he was doing a panel Q&A, and he unprompted kind of launched into an explanation of the negotiations and how those are going, and mentioned that he really doesn't like the negotiations. Now, a lot of you guys don't know this, or a lot of you guys probably actually do know this. You guys are savvy. Pete Alonso is repped by Scott Boras. Yes, the Scott Boras. Same Scott Boras that also reps Juan Soto, right? So they've dealt with each other before. And it has been widely reported that Pete is willing to take a 3-year deal, and if they can get to the right AAVs every year. But Steve Cohen not liking what he's hearing out of Pete Alonso's camp, namely out of Scott Boras's mouth or via his fingers via email. He doesn't like the mechanics put in place, he mentioned, which could be, and I'm extrapolating here, this is just me taking guesses, so allegedly, whatever. Every disclaimer you need to put out for stuff like this, but it seems that he's not too happy with all this little extra things, extra value, extra control that they're trying to get in there for Pete in order to back out of that contract, probably in multiple places throughout it, and they would prefer not to go through something like that. And they're being pretty rigid. I took away from these comments that he wasn't super confident that they were going to find a middle ground. It sounds like they're pretty far apart. And the Blue Jays have been connected to Pete Alonso, and right now it feels like they're the front runner simply because they don't have any competition. Now, if there was anyone else involved in any, if I didn't hear this from Steve Cohen, I would say the Mets are still at the front because we know how the Blue Jays are. But it's not looking good for a reunion in Flushing for Pete Alonso. Here's the quote, which is really, really interesting. Or this is great. I'm just going to read exactly what he said. Okay. Personally, this has been an exhausting conversation and negotiation. That's a lot coming from a guy who owns a massive hedge fund and has negotiated quite a few deals in his day. I mean, Soto's was tough. This is worse. A lot of it is we've made a significant offer. I don't like the structures that are being presented back to us. I think it's highly asymmetric against us, and I feel strongly about it. Like he thinks it's really, really lopsided in value to the player, which is, that is the hallmark of Scott Boras. But what struck me was he feels strongly about it. That is not a good sign. I'm being brutally honest. I don't like the negotiations. I don't like what's being presented to us. Maybe that changes. I'll always stay flexible. But if it stays this way, I think we're going to have to get used to the fact that we may have to go forward with the existing players that we have. So the Mets have signed Winkerback, AJ Minter, which I love that deal, by the way. Juan Soto, we know all about that. Sean Manaea, Clay Holmes, Frankie Montas, and then went and got Jose Siri. There's a bunch of little stuff, but they could definitely use Pete Alonso. I've even heard Spencer Torkelson being thrown out there as a possible option. Probably not a great sign if the Tigers are out on you, but it is what it is. So, how are we feeling about that? How are we feeling about the discourse happening in Flushing? It feels a little bit silly after the way that free agency has gone this year, with the number of people going to all of these big contracts being signed, and then we're getting hung up on these 3-year for a first baseman. I don't know. It feels weird. It feels silly to me. But, who knows? Maybe the Dodgers need a backup first baseman. No? All right. Okay. Moving hither. We have movement on the Houston Astros. Ryan Pressly has waived his no trade in his contract, his no trade clause only for the Chicago Cubs. And this is one of those very likely trades. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed, softly confirmed with some stipulation without any details coming out, that Ryan Pressly will be a Chicago Cub, which is interesting considering that Kyle Tucker is now a Chicago Cub. Now that we have Tucker and Pressly, a bona fide closer and a bona fide all-star right fielder, the Cubs are really interesting to me as a team. It's gonna be cool to see how they do this year, but it seems like this is going to happen. And one interesting thing about this type of contract or this type of move is, one, how it's telegraphed, and we can all kind of see it coming because of the moves that need to happen in order to make it happen in terms of payroll, moving, and trades, and clearing people off of rosters and all kinds of stuff, which they seem to have parted the waters, per se, for Ryan Pressly. Ryan Pressly, who last year was relegated to setting up for Josh Hader after that historic size contract. But he has been one of the most clutch closers of the last 4 or 5 years, especially in the playoffs. Ryan Pressly is a proven winner who has to pitch in November every single year. And at 36 years old, he is still doing it, which is really impressive. Also, don't want to toot my own horn here, but I did go to his wedding, and it was incredible. And yes, Orbit, the Astros mascot, was there. So that happened. Ryan Pressly, Cubs. But piggybacking off this story, this guy, Alex Bregman, with the move of Pressly out and that payroll being being removed, not removed, but like being moved. Being removed. That opens the door, cracks open the door for negotiations with Alex Bregman to head back to the Astros to happen. Now, the Astros have signed Christian Walker and went and got Isaac Paredes, who is also a third baseman. Not the same caliber, but is also a third baseman and doesn't really have the flexibility to play any other position. So if this were to happen, Alex Bregman were to go back to the Astros, he would probably need to play second base. Now, who else plays second base? Jose Altuve. And what has Jose Altuve did? He has offered to take one for the team and play left field. The 36-year-old freak athlete, Jose Altuve, is interested in moving positions to get Alex Bregman back. Now, what do we think about that? That is interesting. No, Orbit wasn't in a tux, by the way. Orbit was just Orbit. Now, how do we think Altuve would play in left field? That's what's interesting to me. I know he's a really good athlete and he's a good second baseman, but could he just go to the outfield? I mean, I guess they run Jordan out there quite a bit, so it can't be worse than that. So who knows? But the door has been cracked back open, and let's see if they can get up to that number that he was trying to command earlier in the offseason. I believe, if you let me check my notes here real quick, the deal offered to him in October was somewhere around 6 years, 155 or something. Oh, no, declined a 7-year, 158. No, that's Alonso. Where is it? I saw it in here. Anyway, it was something around there, and he decided to test free agency to go for that $200 million payday. Didn't kind of coalesce, considering the Mariners were the teams that needed both Alonso and Bregman the most, and we know what they spent money on. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But they do have garlic fries at the. Okay, so I have it in chat. Thank you, Showtime. It is 156 over 6 years. So I was really close. So I would anticipate it being somewhere around there again. If it ends up happening, that's where we'll get, which is still a really big contract. But I think at this point, anything more than a $30 million a year AAV is probably too much for Alex Bregman to count on. Ooh. From chat, breaking news. Breaking news. That's not. I need to get my breaking news button on. That's what I need to do. I need to turn that on. Breaking news. Forbes has reported that MLB has hit an all-time high in revenue with $12.1 billion in 2024. Hey, can we get a little golf clap in the chat? Congratulations, baseball. You have made a good amount of money. Jesse Chavez with the Rangers. I can't wait to watch him pitch for the Braves in 2 months. It's gonna be sick. 12.1 billion. $12.1 billion. I'm also hearing that, according to David Korn, our producer, Chandler Rome of The Athletic reports the Astros are continuing to pursue Jorge Polanco as an option. Now, that's interesting, considering he's also second baseman, but maybe DH. I don't know. I don't know what he would do there, but as a depth piece, just in case the Bregman thing doesn't work out. So, congratulations on your record high revenues, guys. Wow. That's crazy. That's $378 million per club. Wow. Well, that was a great segue, Chris, into our next news story. This is David Rubenstein, and he is the new owner of the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles owner David Rubenstein says he wishes the MLB would have a salary cap, quote, the way other sports do. No. Welcome to baseball, guy. You've been here for 1 year. You don't get a salary cap. Also, take advantage of your young core, please. Thank you. This is not what I want to hear. Okay. All right. This offseason, so we're all going to start complaining about Juan Soto, even though we just made what? What did we do, chat? Say it with me. $12.1 billion in revenue. So this is really rich coming out of the mouth of a guy in an ownership group that just had record revenues. When your revenues go to record highs, your expenses will also follow. That is how free market capitalism works. I know you don't want it to work that way, where you just say what happens, and then it is the way you want it to be, but that's not how. It's a push and pull situation. There are more than just you involved. So, why do we not have a salary cap? 1, arbitration exists. Teams own players for 6 years after they're called to the major leagues. Football, it is 3 or 4 years. Basketball, it is 3 or 4 years. Do you hear the difference there? Those two have salary caps. Baseball does not. I'll repeat, at least 2 more years of control over every single player. That is why you don't have a salary cap. If it is mentioned in the next CBA, it is a hot button issue. No one's coming to the table. We're not even going to discuss it unless you are willing to get rid of arbitration. If you get control of 3 or 4 years over players, 2, maybe we'll discuss the salary cap. But somehow you won't want to do that. You want to have control and you want to have all the money. No. Secondly, baseball has the most parity of any major sport by far. Meaning, the variety of different teams that win the championship are much higher for baseball than it is for any other sport. I saw a stat. Now, don't quote me on this. I should probably get better if I want to be a reporter. But I believe the stat was like 14 of the last 20 years in the NBA. It has been a top 3 payroll winning the championship. We have the Chiefs going to for a three-peat right now. Like 2 years ago, we had the Astros versus the Rangers. So in baseball, So this system, though it feels bad to see these numbers in vacuum, and I understand that, the sport is still the most competitive sport because of the nature of it. It is. It's the most competitive. It is. We're the most competitive sport. But like to hear this come out of Robenstein's mouth. So let me just look here. Let me read this quote so we're not taking things out of context, because we're not about that here at this show. But I wish it to be the case that we have a salary cap in baseball the way other sports do. Maybe eventually we will, but we don't have that now. Rubenstein told Yahoo Finance during the World Economic Forum. I suspect we'll probably have something closer with NFL have, NBA have, but there's no guarantee of that. Why do you think that, David? I think David thinks that because David's used to getting what David wants. I think that like he says things like that without giving any of the nuance, like why it doesn't exist yet. And he just thinks that like if he just wishes hard enough, it will. But no, it won't. It won't just happen because you want it. And that genuinely pissed me off to a level. It blew my mind. Here's the way that it's supposed to work. A portion of total revenue, it needs to be used as an expense that goes directly to the players playing the game. That's the premise. Okay? It's percentage of total revenues. Right now, I think we're at like 48 or 49% of total revenues go to player salaries. That is pretty balanced. You're shooting for 50%. It's a 50-50, co-symbiotic situation. In basketball, 50% goes to the players. In football, 48% goes to the players. In the WWA, 20% goes to the players. That's a whole nother issue. But 50% has kind of generally been the benchmark because it's literally like half goes to you, half goes to us, and we'll figure this out. So that's the number you're trying to adjust for. As that number starts to go down, creep down, it goes to 45%, to 40%, to 35%. That means that the players aren't doing a good enough job in keeping it where it needs to get through creative means. Salary cap would swing that crazy towards the owners. It would, just because of the nature of control in the league and the nature of how long players play for. So to hear somebody go, and of course, it's a World Economic Forum. He's like, man, it would be really nice to have this super advantageous to the ownership group system. I really wish we had it. No shit. But I really hope you understand why you don't have it. I know you've only been around for a year, and you lost the division at the end of the year and then signed nobody. So Maybe baseball isn't actually the reason you own a team now. Maybe it's for other reasons. Man, I really get mad at owners, don't I? Thank you for your cheer, by the way. Appreciate it. Look at F1, only a few win. Exactly. You want parity? This is how you do it. Unless the players move naturally because the control has been limited. Right? But if players can't move around and there's a salary cap, then you're going to see the same 5 teams every year. It's just the way. We're going to turn you against capitalism. It's not about capitalism in general. Guys, I've done a lot of research on this. I think there are structures. For example, baseball is its own closed system. We are literally an industry that has a limited number of people because of the way baseball is. There can only be so many players. So it's like a great experiment on how does a smaller union work directly with high-value individuals to get pieces of the pie. This is free markets working. Players have the ability to bargain for bigger pieces of the pie, and they have to be creative. And then the owners have to be creative, and then both sides are being creative. And then they have it built into where they get to talk about these things regularly. That is literally like how you build competition. This is it working the way it's supposed to work. Having these conversations is it working. This is what it's supposed to look like, right? What you don't want is unfettered, unregulated, where one side just does whatever they want and has power of the other one. Now it's no longer free market capitalism. It's just end stage capitalism. Those are different. Which is what the country's in right now, or moving towards real quick. Becomes a Ouroboros eating its own tail. Everyone's just using debt, which at some point debt runs out, and then no one can buy anything, and then everything collapses, and it keeps happening. So those are different things. That's for another different type of show. Hold on, let me just do my Jon Stewart. What do you mean? Wow. Okay. Alrighty. Moving on. Anyway, David, I'm sure you're a nice guy, but for the love of Christ, stop it. All right. Our last news story. Ichiro Suzuki, 3,000 hits, Rookie of the Year, 2001, 212 hits. He's an MVP. Is he an MVP? Batting titles. This guy's a legend. He's one of, if not the greatest Japanese players of all time, and one of the best players in history of baseball, and was unanimously. Huh? Wait, one person didn't vote for him? He was almost unanimously voted into the Hall of Fame. He received 199.9% of the votes, and we'll never know the name of the person that didn't vote for Ichiro, but this was going to be an interesting topic to touch on because I think there's some interesting angles here, all right? So the BBWAA, I did this last week, is the entity that votes for the that votes in the Hall of Fame. They get a ballot every year. There's 10 guys. They get 10 votes on the ballot. It's much more than 10 people on it. I believe there's like 28 or something this year. Oh my God. Ooh, we have breaking news we will hit in a moment. But I thought it would be interesting because I didn't really know. What are the requirements for even having a vote? And shout out to DK in the producer's room for finding me a lot of examples of guys that maybe are voting that maybe shouldn't be anymore. So here's what you need to know if you want to be. So if you want to be in the BBWAA and you want to vote on the Hall of Fame, here's the things that you need to do. One, you need membership into the union. I mean, or the association. So this is a group with their own rules and their own governance. You must be active or an honorary member of the BBWAA. Now, I don't know what honorary member means, but I'm sure someone gets grandfathered on. But you must be a member at the moment. Right now, the moment the vote happens, you have to be a member at that moment. So you have to be part of the group. You need 10 years of continuous membership. You must have been a member for at least 10 consecutive years before being able to vote. So basically, you have to get tenure. It's the same way like in baseball. You get your pension after 10 years of service time. You need 10 consecutive years of service time in the BBWAA in order to vote. So you've been around for a while, at least a decade. And then they have actually a review. So as of 2016, voters must be actively covering baseball or have been active writer in the past 10 years. So you either have to actively be covering baseball or have covered baseball in the last decade, which seems like a little bit too big of a length of time, in my opinion. But you have to have baseball be part of you have to prove it. And so every single year they basically look at the list and cull it based on anyone who is putting these hours in baseball, and says this change was made to remove voters who have not covered baseball for a long time, which makes a lot of sense. Now we have some really interesting people that are not actually that connected, who are barely satisfying these requirements. One, a gentleman named Alan Greenwood, the former editor of the Nashua, New Hampshire Telegram. He currently writes a blog about the Patriots. He doesn't even really write about baseball, but he voted this last year. He only used 3 of his 10 votes, and these are the 3 people he voted for: Ichiro, A-Rod, and Manny Ramirez. What? I don't understand. Like, okay, so I'm like, okay, Nashville, New Hampshire, so New England, right? But Red Sox, okay, so that makes sense for the Manny thing. But Red Sox fans notoriously hate A-Rod, so why is A-Rod in here? And then Ichiro's the low-hanging fruit, obviously. So it wasn't Allen's fault. But the other two are very confusing. Are we dying on the steroids hill? Is that what we're doing? So weird. Here's some other public Hall of Fame ballots that were not great from writers. This is research done by my friend David. I love that I keep saying that as if I'm like, if you get mad at him. Bruce Jenkins. Yeah, I know you can hear me, Dave. Bruce Jenkins, San Francisco Chronicle columnist. 4 votes: Ichiro, A-Rod, Manny, and Omar Vizquel. A lot of you don't know, Omar Vizquel's had some pretty serious allegations against him in the last few years. So that's another interesting one. A lot of people have just kind of like not addressed that and just not voted. Stephen Wine from the Associated Press, 2 votes, Ichiro and Beltran. You know what? I'm okay with that. Those two, maybe he's like, I only vote for the people that I think should be in no matter what. Like, I feel really strongly about them being in. I'm not going to use any votes beyond that. This one seems bad because he only used 2 votes, but those 2 guys got in. Or did Beltran get in? Hold on. I thought he did. I just realized I don't know for sure. Beltran got in, right? He did not. Oh. But he got close, right? Yeah, he got close. He did not this time around. He was close there at the end. Anywho, not this year. Okay. But he was up there. He was in the top 3. I believe it's Ichiro, Wagner. Was it just Ichiro and Wagner? Oh no, and CC. Yeah, those ones are obvious to me. I think Beltran deserves to be in too, but again, scandals aside, his are interesting. We'll see how it comes out. One last one from last year, Tony Maserati, the 98.5 in the Sports Hub host. He voted for A-Rod and Manny last year. That's just steroids don't matter kind of vote, and that seems silly to me. But like the guys who are most not connected to baseball anymore, it's like Stephen Wine, Alan Greenwood, Anthony Andro, just has written a couple. Like a lot of these are like 1 article a year type guys. I mean, we got one guy who writes for the Peoria Journal-Star, Dave Reynolds, who retired in 2020 from writing, and he's still gets a ballot. Maybe, maybe we don't. Maybe not. So if you're ever wondering what it takes to get a ballot, that's how. We don't know who didn't vote for Ichiro, but you should have voted for Ichiro. What are we doing? I think that he deserves it, and he deserves it unanimously. I don't understand how you don't. If you do it to be contrarian, grow up. If you do it because you don't believe he deserves to be in, grow up. There's just no good argument for it. There's no good argument. You made it about you. But then no one knows who you are. So what are we doing? Just vote for him and move on with your life. You know what I mean? I can see voting for A-Rod and Manny, but then not voting for anyone else. Yeah, Chris, they're making a point. They're making a point. And I've been told Beltran was 4th at 70.3%, so close. I mean, that's what Wagner got about last year, so I would assume he's going to be in. Also, breaking news. Ellie De La Cruz is going to be the front of the new 2025 MLB The Show. 2025 edition of MLB The Show. Ellie De La Cruz, congratulations. The guy's electric. Is he a superstar quite yet? In my opinion, not quite yet, but he's getting really close. He's getting very close. He's gonna be fun to play with in the show. I think the new generation of gamer loves Ellie De La Cruz, but it's very clear what they're trying to do with the guys on the cover at these points. I think it's a good call. I don't know. I also called it. I thought Ellie De La Cruz is probably going to be it because he's electric. Is that as cursed as the Madden cover? Yes, it's cursed in the exact same way. Actually, being the cover of everything sucks. You actually don't want it. Yeah, I would say Skeens. I bet you Skeens. I bet you that's the short list. I bet you Gunner and Skeens were on the short list. Shohei already got one, so we can't do him. But Ellie De La Cruz, I think he's just as good a choice as any. I don't think that the cover really matters that much, but I think that a younger generation loves him so much that it's a smart business move. So shout out to San Diego Studios. I like it. I like Ellie. I think that kid's got a really bright future ahead of him, obviously, health permitting. All right. Yeah. And Nash in the chat says Skeens next year, no matter what. Yeah, I agree with that. All right. We're going to get into our main story. Okay, that's not working for some reason. With one Juan Soto salary. All right, here we go. We're going to go into the main. All right, guys. This is our main subject for the day. Good friend Henry here, my production assistant, had this awesome idea a couple months ago. We're going to make this a YouTube video when Soto signed. Hopefully this isn't too small. I can actually just like zoom in on it for you, make it a little bit easier. We can zoom over so you can just see the names. But basically, the premise is Juan Soto is making $51 million a year. We want to make the best starting lineup. So we want to start. We want the 9 hitters. We want a starting pitcher. We want a 1 relief pitcher, and we want the closing pitcher. All for $51 million in 1 year. We came up with a nice little list here of people at different positions. I want to hear your guys' feedback as well in the chat. So let me know who I missed and who we could go better. And I think I'm just going to go through it, piece by piece. So it's a ton of people in ARB. How would we spend this money? And I'll put them in here, and we will see what kind of team we can build. Yeah, it's going to be so hard. Feels like this should be done with post-ARB salaries. That's too hard, Yellow. That's why we didn't do it. We want people who are undervalued by the nature of the game, but aren't necessarily undervalued overall, if that makes sense. Cool. So we're going to take this. This is our like diamond, our baseball diamond, which I will make smaller, and we will just place people in their places. So first things first, I'm going to take a catcher. I really want Cal. So, it already put it where I want it. Cal Raleigh. All right, Cal Raleigh's going to be our close. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ, man. Cal Raleigh is our catcher. That takes us to what? $5 mil. All right. We're going to spend that much on our catcher. I think that, actually, also, because there's 12 total guys, we're going to open it up to rookie contracts. So maybe we go. Actually, I'm gonna hot route this. I'm gonna go Yainer, Diaz. I believe that's $750K right there, boys and girls. Ooh. Yeah, but I'm going to take Yainer. I'm going to take Yainer for the offense. But that's a good call. Ooh, Bobby Witt's making 7 this year. Is he in here? Ooh, in terms of shortstops, that's gonna be tough. But I like Yainer Diaz as my catcher. We're just gonna straight up do Cade Smith. Cade Smith's the only one I have for relief pitchers, and I'm just gonna do it because he's the one I would choose. Yiner's technically 800K. Thank you so much. So I'm going to put him over here. Cade Smith. I bet you Cade Smith's probably technically 800K too. So both these guys is 1.6. So we'll just round up to that. 1.6 mil. Okay. Now, in terms of closers. Now, I know I'm doing all the cheap guys first, so maybe we get our expensive players out of the way. Like in terms of DHs, for example. Like I kind of want to just spend the money on Rooker, but it's just a lot. Can we play shortstop at secondary positions? No. Let's do main positions. I mean, Pena looks really good to me. I probably wouldn't go with Arcia. Gunner's 800K. Oh yeah, you're right. This is okay. Maybe this. Well, I'm gonna set a limit. We can only go 3 guys on the rookie contracts. We could put together an all rookie team that's really great. But 3 total rookie contracts. Okay, so I only get 1 more, and I don't want to use them all right now. I want to do the big spend. I think I want to go with one thing I'm doing for sure, and that is putting. We're gonna go Stephen Kwan and left 100%. For $4 million. Are you kidding? Stephen Kwan. So that's 5.6. Pena probably is the best value. I'm trying to think of other shortstops. Mason Wynn's a rookie. Can't go with him. Because I'm probably going to use... my other rookie. Honestly, though, I feel like Gunner might be the guy. We got for outfielder. So we use Kwan. Who else do we have? We had Duran at center field, easy. Ooh, that's good. Gonna use the rookie deals on Gunner and Skeens. So I've already used 2 rookie. I used Cade and Yainer. Duran is actually 3.75 now. Oh, this was last year. 1.7 was last year. Yeah, he's more expensive now. Munoz is probably more too. They're probably all about 3. Luke Weaver Luke Weaver's on a free agent deal. Clase is more expensive too. I bet you they all are. Profar will not. Profar 12 now. I would go. Who's the Arb? Who's the guy in Arb? Who's a good outfielder? I mean, I like Marsh. Right, we got a lefty and a righty hitting. I'm gonna add for my DH. I'm gonna go with Rooker. We're gonna spend a good amount of money on Rooker because I still think he's a steal. Brent Rooker's our DH. So that'll take us to 17.6. Felix Bautista's $1 million right now. Is he in his 3rd year? Or is he first year ARB? Oh, Bautista's a steal, bro. And he's not a rookie. Hell yeah, we're doing that. Yordan's 10 million? Oh my God. Yordan Alvarez is 10 million. Is Felix Bautista really just 1? Ah, gotcha. Okay, he's 1 year deal, 1 million. I'll go with that. Felix Bautista's 1. Okay, so what do we have? We have righty. Ooh, Rooker Alvarez, man. What about J-Ram? What is J-Ram's yearly? Are we using 24 salaries? 20, basically wherever 25s are available. Yeah. Oh, he's 15 this year. Are these only starters? No bench players. Only starters. We can use people who are on the bench to fill out our team. but we are only doing starters. Okay. Okay. Continuing on. I like to close this. Honestly, second base is an easy one for me too. I'm going Ozzy. I know he's been hurt, but he's just a steal, man. What is Acuna a year? Aram's 19. Ozzy's 5, so that's 23. Remember, we only have one more rookie to use. My day's great, Master. Thanks for asking. Yeah, what's Scooble at right now? Acuna's at 17. We don't want to do that then. That's way, way too high. Okay, I want to play center field. I wonder if we can get away with Louis Robert. Oh, no, we're going Jarren Duran, 100%. What the hell? Why didn't I think about that? Jarren Duran center. 4.1. So that takes us to what? 27.7. I need a little like thing where I can just drag and drop guys. Veerling. Ooh, Veerling's a solid right fielder. O'Neal Cruz. $2 million a year for sure. Oh, Scooble is our starting pitcher. Honestly, no. My starting pitcher is going to be I'm going to go with Shane McClanahan here. I think he's going to come back hot this year. There's only one end, Trevor. There's only one end in the middle, brother, man, Bill. Shane McClanahan, 3.6, takes us to 31.3. All right, we got $20 million to work with for the last 5 players. Ooh, Skeens. I mean, we can use Skeens as a rookie, but you know what I'm going to do? Because shortstops are so expensive, I'm going with Gunnar. We're going to do Gunnar for our shortstop at $800K. I like the 3 rookies because this would be really hard without, and 3's not that many out of 12. With 12 players, you know, you got to average $4 million a player. Gunnar Henderson. $32.1. All right, I need a third baseman and a right fielder and a right fielder, third and first. Oh God, what's Vlad making? Third base, a lot. What's Isaac Paredes making? Ooh, we have third baseman down here. I can check him. Jazz Chisholm, not bad. Royce Lewis, dude. 19 for Vlad. That ain't happening. I like Royce. Yeah, I can't do Cassis. He's on rookie contract. Royce isn't anymore. He's on a deal. So yeah, we can go with Royce, but that gives us a ton of money to work with. Royce is 165. Can we? Okay, so what do we have? We have to work with. We have 18.9. So I can't mix Vladdy in there. Paredes is making 6.625. I'm trying to think of third basemen that are healthy and affordable. Vientos is on a rookie contract. That doesn't count. Okay, Austin Riley's making too much money. Ooh, Cabrian Hayes, he's making what? 9? Bohm's 4? Muncie's at 12. I like Royce Lewis. I think Royce is a good call. We're getting a little bit of the future here, too. All right. All right. How much is Freddie Freeman making? 1.6. Bohm 7.7. Yeah, actually, I like Alec Bohm here because he's healthy, and I don't want to go just with a bunch of guys. Okay, so we were 32. What, we were 32-1? Yeah, we're 32-1, and he's 7.7, so it's 39.9. 39.9. Okay, we got Freeman's 27. Damn it. Okay. I need a first baseman and a right fielder for $12 million. Yandy's at 8. Ooh, Yandy's 8. Dude, that's a good one. All right, give me a quality right fielder for $4 million, guys. I need you. What am I doing here? I love Yandy Diaz. He's one of my favorites. Yandy Diaz he's 8. Is it 8 flat? All right, we got $3.1 million to work with. I like Vierling, dude. Vierling's a great call. That's perfect. Is Vierling at 3 flat? I can't do Riley Green. He's still a rookie also. Like on a rookie contract. That takes us to 50.9 mil. What are we thinking here, boys and girls? Okay, so we have Shane McClanahan starting. Cade Smith comes in after Philip Bautista closes the game. Brett Rooker is our DH. Yainer Diaz is our catcher. Alec Bohm at third. Gunnar Henderson, shortstop. Ozzy Albies is our second baseman. Yandy Diaz at first. Jaron Duran at center. Stephen Kwan at left. And Matt Vierling at right. Jackson Churios, 4.2. Yeah, it's the same as Duran. That's the same as Durant. That's a great team. What are we thinking? Yeah, how many? Let's figure it out. How many wins? What do we think how many wins does this team have? Do this. Well, then again, a lot of it's going to have to do. If you started these same, so if you started Shane McClanahan, Kane Smith, and Felix Bautista pitched every freaking day, you win a lot of games. But like, this feels like a possible high 80s to 90 win team to me. This is one of those like 89 and 73. Nobody wants to play them type teams. I'm gonna say that's my guess. So we'll do that. We'll go 89 and 73. If we sim this, I have a feeling we would get one of the. We could get an 89 and 73. What are we thinking? This team's basically the 2023 Diamondbacks. True. Duran's making 375. All right. You think I'm right? I think this is pretty good. Hey, great job, guys. Making the best team with Juan Soto. Hey, shout out to Henry for this idea. This was awesome. And for hitting me with the salaries in the chat, guys. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. That was really fun, guys. That was our main subject today. Can we make a team out of Juan Soto? When we come back, I'm going to take a 2-minute break. Going to have a little drink of water. Put on some chapstick. I'm going to take a drink of water, put on some chapstick, and go to the bathroom. And then we are going to get into a little bit of a breakdown, and then ask me anything, and I will be answering your questions in the chat, all right? You guys have 2 minutes to stand up, stretch those legs, and, you know. I'm back. Sorry, I had a snack, guys. Y'all have a good break? Y'all have a good break? All right. Next up, we have a little bit of a breakdown today, and I want to know how many of you guys know what a death ball is. Type a 1 in the chat if you know what a death ball is. Just a 1 in either chat. I can see them both. And if you don't know what it is, type 2. Damn. Oh, damn. There's a lot of people that don't know what it is. Okay. Ooh. By the way, thank you for the resubscriptions in the chat and also the bits. Real Alk 9 plays. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, a lot of you got it. Roger. Before that, we have a really important question that came up in the chat. Would you rather fight a monkey with a sword once a year or a chicken every time you got in your car? I would murder a monkey once a year. What are we talking about? Wait, do I get it? No, wait, this is important. Do I have a sword too? This is really important. Who has the sword? He has the sword? Do I have this? Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. All right, the death ball. The death ball. So, any of you that don't know what a death ball is, it is what was commonly known as a gyro slider. Okay? Now, I don't know why this is up here like this, so I'm going to do this. And we're going to do this, actually, and then I'm going to actually do this. I know we still have this up. This is the death ball, guys. So, I have an example of this, but the death ball is what a gyro slider used to be called. Or it used to be just called a gyro slider. Generally, since the advent of the sweeper, this pitch, here, I'll bring this up. I'll actually show it to you in full screen here. This pitch, where you come across the ball like that and try to get it to spin and go sideways, that became very popular. A lot of people throw sweepers. Matt Brash throws a sweeper at 90 miles an hour. I still don't understand how it works. But the slider has become, the word slider has become used east. It's being used east and west. It's being talked about as moving side to side more often than not now. So sweepers aren't actually being called sweepers as much. They're just being called sliders. Now, what's happening is people with sliders that go straight down didn't call them gyros because no one wants to call things gyros. I don't know why. That is what they are. But they're starting to call them death balls. So think about this. It's a 12-6 slider. That's what a death ball is. All right? A 12-6 slider. Now, in 2019, actually, I want to go medium here. In 2019, I changed my slider grip. I went from a curveball like this, and no, I'm not flipping you off. It looks like I am. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I used to throw my curveball like this and throw it like tumble over. So that's a spiked curveball. Those are supposed to be slow. That gave me a 12-6. Then I switched to a slider grip like this, and the way I threw, I would get like a kind of a loose dot, and it would go straight down, but it'd be like 86 instead of 78. So they're like, wow, you throw a really depthy slider. By all intents and purposes, it was a death ball. The problem is you got to throw it over the plate. So this is a video I saw recently from Tread Athletics, which before we watch the video, I just want to give a shout out to Tread. Give them credit. Tread_athletics on Instagram. It is a pitching lab that has become well known around the baseball world. Lots of kids go. They do great work, and I also want to give them a lot of props for making really cool content. It does a couple things where it perpetuates a lot of this, like you got to throw hard or you're worthless type of, not worthless, sorry. You got to throw hard or you're, you got to throw hard, which is true to a point, but there's the whole backslapping velo day stuff that I think gets overblown a little bit. It's kind of like sometimes leads to people getting injured faster. Like it changes what your incentives are. That said, velo has always been something people have gone for, so I'm not going to say that it's their fault or anything. But I do love how they explain and give instructional content over here. So if you're interested in pitching and understanding how things move, this is a lot of guys who are either going into college or they're professional pitchers. A lot of professional pitchers go here to get instruction in the off seasons. And they'll do like, this is what this person's working on. This is how we work through it. And this is how these pitches move, which is super interesting. And I think it's really value. The downsides greatly outweigh the upsides, in my opinion. So shout out to Tread. I think they do great work. And I think they keep getting people hired in professional. They got a lot of smart people. They have a good approach to it. It's very similar to Driveline. It's the next step in Driveline. So just that's caveats out there. Let me refresh this real quick. We will watch this video because this is from a pitcher named Wimbish is his last name. And his upper 80s death ball graded out at a 128 in the bullpen per stuff plus model. Now that I'm not going to explain all that right now, but this is going to give you an idea what a death ball is, and I wanted you to see it in action, and they have a great video of it. So this guy is a sophomore in college at NC State. So he's got a great riding four seam, and then you can see the depth on that thing. Yep, straight down. That's 87. It's going to play. Now, where are your hats? I don't know. See, look at this thing. So you stay over the plate, and you throw a breaking ball with tons of vert. See the vert on that? The vert was -10 right there, which is crazy. And for it to be that hard. So what you're trying to get is really hard velocity, and you're trying to throw it below the zone, but you want to stay over the plate. So if you throw a slider like this and you throw it off the plate, it's going to look like a ball the whole time. So getting chases off the plate are very hard to do. You want a sweeper for that. But the death ball is a better option that you can throw to both righties and lefties because depth is good to righties and lefties. So I saw this video. I want to explain the death ball. Now, one guy coined it, Ross Stripling, last year going into the season. A lot of people were trying to on purpose throw a 12-6 slider. So guys want to throw curveballs at this or with this much depth. The problem is getting the velocity. You want the velocity and the depth. This guy's getting crazy velocity and depth. So I thought this was fascinating, kids. And if you have a slider that you're not able to sweep and you can only get depth on it, throw the depth ball. You notice he calls a curveball too. It's not actually a curveball, but he's calling it as a curveball because that's the type of movement he wants it to have. It's death ball. Death. It's just fun to say death ball, evidently. Are death balls hard to spit on? Yes, they are if you're all the way over the plate. If you throw ride fastball, it's north-south. So remember, this is a north-south approach. You're going fastballs up, and then sliders down. And then when the slider or the death ball is so hard, you can't make that, it basically breaks off of that tunnel plane later, and it's harder to pick up on. So you'd have less time to make the choice. If it's like a big curveball and a fastball up, you can see the curveball breaking earlier, and you might have a chance to get to it. With this, though, no. So as long as you're over the plate, it's very hard to get to. So as long as you're in the bottom of the zone, you're going to get a lot of ground balls. But yes, it's called the death ball. It's just a gyro slider that's focused more on depth than horizontal or sweep. Depth, sweep. Depth, sweep. And I just thought this was interesting. So go follow them, tread_athletics on Instagram. They do a great job. They have a lot of really, really cool breakdowns and things of that nature. All right, you guys ready to do some questions? Because I want to see your guys' questions in the chat. And I also have some pre put together questions that were given to me via other things. So let's bring that up. All right. So every year I ask questions on Instagram. I have an Instagram community called Baseball is Alive. There's 3,000 members in it. You can go to my page and you can see it right there. The link to it, you can join that up. I asked a question, what are some things you guys want to know more than anything? And I grabbed a couple questions from there. One of which was from NJ Bookworm. He goes, when did you know you were good enough to make the major leagues? This is a phenomenal question because you kind of have to think you're good enough to go to the major leagues when you're drafted. Right? And I've thought about this a lot these days. How I knew what that looked like. Right? So the interesting thing is, like, I just kind of assumed. Like, I don't ever remember being like, am I good enough to make it? I was just like, we'll see. And that's just kind of how you have to be about it. And I know that's not very helpful, but I just was like, I know that I'm going to do the work. I know that no one's going to outwork me. So at some point it'll just be talent wise, and I'll deal with that when I get to it. It's not worth thinking about. And that's just kind of how it happened. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm good enough to be in the big leagues once I moved up to after my first level. I'm like, okay, professional baseball isn't actually as hard or isn't as scary as I thought it would be. I know that if I just keep doing what I'm doing right now, eventually I'll get to the peak of what I am. And that's what happened. But the big thing is, like, you have potential to get to the big leagues when you're drafted, but you got to go into playing professional baseball with the assumption that you're going to make the major leagues. Because if you don't, what's the point? So I thought this was interesting. That was a great question. Thank you, NJ Bookworm on Instagram, for asking that one. Really, really appreciated that and helped it. It was very, very nice. I got an interesting one here. I hate these videos. Bother me because the catchers are terrible. Referencing the tread video, I think that's funny. LOL. Keep that spirit up. Also, did I see the knuckleballer on tread recently? I didn't. Upper 80s knuckleballs. God help us. If that becomes a thing, God help us, all of us. Yeah, we're so screwed. We're so freaking so absolutely ridiculously screwed. Cool. Ooh, we just got another one. Why no union for minor leaguers? There actually is a union. They are unionized now. So the union is recognized by baseball. There is a minor league union. When did you... Getting pretty good at this now. When did you know you should stop playing? After my last year in New York. I knew that. Going into my year in Oakland, I knew that was the last year for a lot of reasons. Tons of personal reasons, tons of professional reasons, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. What's the average speed for a knuckleball? I don't know, but it's like in the 70s usually. So high 80s is a lot. Let me get into another one that we had asked in the Instagram. We have, how much, if any, public relations training do you get as a pro or prospect? When does it start, if it does? You get some. Now, I don't know how much they do this anymore. The Phillies had something called rookie development camp, and then there's a rookie development camp for all rookies. Or people who might be rookies soon, that put on by the PA. So these two different versions. Some teams do it. They bring you into the city. You get interviewed by, your local people. This happened to me. You talk to the big league guys. You learn a lot about it, right? And you get an opportunity to chat with media members and ask them like what they're looking for, what their goals are. So you kind of just get a rapport going. That's one way to do it. And then you have people who come in who are professionals at media training and PR relations, and they'll talk to you a little bit. It's like a 2 or 3 day thing. The Phillies did it. I went, and I think I said ass on TV, which is funny because I got bleeped, but like it wasn't that big of a deal. But I just said someone works their ass off, so that happened. But then there's the whole league one, and it's called the MLB Rookie Development Camp. when I went, it was in Washington, D.C. We had Second City there kind of emceeing the thing. It's a 3-day thing. A bunch of guys go. It was like me, Michael Tonkin, Alex Meyer, I think. So a bunch of big goofy righties. And Caleb Fieldbar. And we got to like interact with other guys and other teams, do a lot of breakout sessions and like, how do we build brands and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's pretty interesting. I was kind of already ahead of the curve on a lot of that stuff, so it wasn't as helpful for me. But like, it is helpful for guys to learn about how you should be approaching your public image. And now it's more important than anything. So, I don't know what has changed in the 10 years since I went, but that is something that they do that I thought you'd think was interesting. All right. We have some other questions here. We'll throw this one in the bottom. I'm actually just going to hide that for a second. No, I won't hide that for a second. I'm going to go over here. All right. This one's really long, so I'm going to try to read it as fast as I can. Hey, Trevor. Hey, Trevor, haven't typed in the chat while I'm a Mets fan. I feel if the Mets win the World Series with the huge player payroll, I feel like it's a real win. I feel like they should implement a salary cap. Do you think I'm dumb for feeling this way? No, I don't think you're dumb for feeling this way. I don't think you're dumb for feeling like there's something disproportionate about certain teams' payrolls being so much higher than others. I totally understand how that looks on the surface. Right. There needs to be checks and balances there 100%. However, salary cap doesn't do what you think it does. It's a very 101 version. Like, people think salary caps are a solve and they're not. Like, all it would do is swing power to the teams. Like, teams would continue to not spend any money. And instead of there being some teams that spend money, there would be no teams that spend money. That makes sense. Like, it's because of the nature of the sport. Salary caps exist to create parity and competitiveness in your league. The two leagues that have a salary cap have less competitiveness and parity than baseball does by their nature. So, because teams can control rookies for so goddamn long, they don't get a salary cap. Like, we don't talk about this. For every Juan Soto, there's 15 Gunnar Hendersons. A guy who hits 40 home runs and gets $800,000. Now, there is now the pre-arb pool and stuff. If you don't remember this, we were like, we want $300 million in the pre-arb pool. And the league was like, we want to put $25 million. So we're like, cool. You're going to say 10% of the number we said? They're like, yeah. And that's what we're dealing with. So now it's like, I think it got up to like 60. So we went down 240 or 210 million, and they went up like 30. That's how everything works. It always will work like that. That is seen as like a 50-50 compromise, and it isn't. So this is how they operate. So you give them a cap that creates, like, it removes half the ways we can negotiate after that. So that's why the cap doesn't exist, and that's why baseball can't have it. I hope that makes sense. This is a great one too. Dude, you guys got the questions today. Gosh. Okay. Wait, where'd it go? Zoomer Sports. Oh my God. Do you think ESPN should do a college game day show? I just don't think anyone watches it. So the problem with college baseball is it's during Major League Baseball, and there's games every fucking day. Like, there's just so many games. We just don't need more games. And I think that's why college baseball doesn't do well on TV. ESPN, not only does ESPN not want to do college baseball game day, they don't want to do baseball. I don't know if you knew this. There's way less baseball on ESPN. It's just because it's just such a slow burn. It's not so dramatic, right? So, and I get it. That makes a lot of sense. It's just ESPN's already moving away from baseball. So I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it would be very successful at all. Do you ever get any official? Ooh, this is another good one. Dude, you guys are freaking on top of it today. Congratulations for that. Do you guys ever get official training on how to manage money? Or do the agents help with that? Agents help with it big time. My agent links me up with my financial people who have helped me manage my money, helped me manage all my insurance, helped me manage this stuff, like funding, building this studio out and doing the show and my whole media company side of things, doing payroll for my employees. They've also helped me, do my taxes in the best way possible in terms of tax burden, make sure we're on top of things. Like a lot of stuff is big. So yes, it's the agents have a huge part to do it, but no. Teams, it's hard to tell because everyone's in such different situations. So it's like hard to kind of come up with a package to help people. But yeah, fiscal awareness is an issue in pro sports in general. But I'm fortunate to say baseball, it's not as bad as other sports. Yeah. Ooh, Danny, that's a good one too. I'm gonna put this one up. Do you collect your own trading cards? Do you collect your own trading cards? Do I collect them? No. But do I have them? Yes. So like I don't actively go kind of try to grab like 1 of 5s or anything, but I don't have any 1 of 1s, obviously. I do have a 1 of 10 of one of the things. So when I sign them all, so when I sign those labels or sign the cards, they usually have like a one-off or a special edition or something for me. So I do have all those, and they're all put away, and I want to keep those. Those are special. But like, did I go like try to buy cards of myself? No. But there are a lot of guys out there that are big time memorabilia guys, big time card sharks, like Pat Neshek, Hector Santiago. These guys love their memorabilia, which I think is awesome. If you're really into it and you're a major league player, dude, you have an in. I think it's sick. I just never really got into it. It felt a little tacky to me. Be like, hey, Mike Trout, will you sign this card? It felt weird to me because it's already hard enough for me to think that I belong on the same field, right? So yeah. Ooh, Speed Beast, 6 months subscription. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Ooh, okay. Do you think local broadcasts should get special rights to playoff games? All baseball fans I know hate national broadcasts and prefer their local crew. I understand wanting your local crew. You want to hear your guys, especially when they're homers, to talk about your team, right? I get it. I understand. And I think there is a path to do that, but you need to understand how much these playoff TV deals are worth. And part of that comes with them putting their own talent on there. That's just the way it works. But like, I think there could be an alternate broadcast. I would love for baseball to be able to like swap out, even though you're seeing the same broadcast, swap out who you hear and have that like especially for streaming. I think that should be a function. I think that would be sick. I would pay extra for that. You can already do it with the Latin broadcast. Why can't you just pick another group? You know? Isn't that interesting? Did I ever punch Trout's ticket? I did, looking. Yes. What do you think of incentive-based contracts? I think incentives are very important. I had a bunch of incentives in my last contract. I think it's great for relievers because you can build things in there that incentivize staying healthy, incentivize value to the team, and you might be able to get if you get a base contract for 1.5 million, but it can escalate up to 4, for example, like you will be compensated for your value you add to the team. But if you don't, it's not that big of a deal. If that makes sense, it kind of takes the pressure off, but also gives you an opportunity to make your value. And I like that. But like those are the type of deals it works in. It doesn't work as well in heavily incentivized. Like Julio Rodriguez is going to be interesting because he's got like $200 million in incentives. So we'll see how that plays out. Would you be surprised if I told you the College World Series had higher ratings than Stanley Cup playoffs? No, I wouldn't. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. Just because the teams that were in it are like, they were in a football playoff. Like, what kind of, if that was a football World Series, I just think that college sports are big in where those schools were from. You can switch the broadcast in the MLB app. Yeah, but like what I'm saying is in the playoffs, they don't have it available. Like those guys aren't even doing one. I think they could do one and still fulfill the whole playoff thing. I think that's great. All right, we have one more question here that I brought up, and this one was from Discord, guys. Join the Discord if you want to get your questions on the show in the future. It is. Wait. Oh. This one's from Instagram. Sorry. This one was from Instagram. This one was from Discord. So the public relations was for Discord. Okay, sorry, I missed one. So the early one. Here we go. What was the recruiting process like out of high school? Dude. This is a good one. The recruiting process out of high school was sick for me, okay? So I went to high school from 2004 to 2008, okay? That's, for those of youngins in there, like, for example, Henry in the other room, that's when he was 2 to 6 years old, okay? It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart. Sorry to put you on blast like that, Henry. But I can imagine how that sounds like it was a long time ago, all right? When I was in high school, the way you got reached out to was, one, you got emails, or two, you got letters sent to your school. So our head baseball coach was a guidance counselor. And so his office was right there at the front of the school. So every time I would walk by, he'd be like, oh, Trevor, I got more letters for you. So all these letters from D1 colleges started showing up. Stanford, Washington, every Ivy League school sent me one because I had a 4.0 and I was going to be our valedictorian. I had really good grades. So they're like, oh, maybe we can get that. But in reality, it's just questionnaires. You're getting all these questionnaires. You're getting, you're getting offers to come down to their baseball camp so they can see you. That's what happened with Washington. But you're getting all these, Washington State, all these D2 schools, and everyone's like, hey, fill out your stats and your size and your weight and blah blah blah. We're going to get to know you. This is pre the iPhone didn't come out until my last year in high school, my senior year. So take that with a grain of salt. So you got all these letters. Now there's nothing cooler than getting had in a stack of letters and seeing like Stanford, or seeing like Arizona State, or seeing like Alabama, or seeing like Florida, like stamped on it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But you got to take it with a grain of salt. So that's how you first get known, right? Then what I did was I went to some of the closer camps. I went to, I think, Pacific University. I went to Seattle U. I went to Washington, which that's one I inevitably got picked up by because they were really excited. I had a really good time. And then once all that stuff gets out, everyone starts to know about you. Then professional teams send them. So sometimes then you'll start getting them from then as your season goes on and pro teams are interested, now you're getting them I got them from the Phillies, from the Cubs, from the Diamondbacks, from the Yankees, from the Red Sox. Like, you get all these other letters from professional teams. You're like, whoa, same thing. You fill out the stuff, you send it back. And then that's when the process starts going. So then you start going to showcases. That's what I did between my junior and senior year, and between my sophomore and junior year as well. Went down to Perfect Game, played in East Cobb, went down to Arizona, played in a bunch of those, played with my baseball Northwest team, our best players in Northwest. Shout out to Andrew Kittredge. We were teammates. And we went and played other teams around the country, and we won some tournaments. And no, we didn't win any tournaments, actually. But I threw low 90s, and I was 6'5". I was the hardest throwing guy on our team. I got some eyes opened. Then you go play against scout teams or whatever, and then pro teams start to notice you, and then start to show up at your games in high school. And that's kind of what happened. It kind of just happened fast after that. But it starts with letters, believe it or not. And I think I still have some of those letters somewhere. It was, I'll be honest, that was one of the coolest times of my life, is just getting letters from teams. I thought that was super cool. Isn't that cool? Isn't that neat? Okay. All right, we got a few more here. Continuing to answer questions. Guys, if you got more questions, throw them in the chat. What was your signing bonus? I signed for $375,000 in the fourth round, last pick in the fourth round, which was about $175,000 over slot. Oh. My bad. My bad. They had to go over slot because there were so many guys drafted before me. And that money lasted me. It lasted me for a long time, but after taxes, about $260,000, which for an 18-year-old is a lot. I bought a car, and then it kind of dwindled. I lived on $20,000 a year for 4 years, and then I was like, I got to get to the big leagues soon. Because I tried to invest in myself. I didn't make a lot of money. I didn't lose a lot either. I wasn't stupid. I'm pretty frugal. My dad taught me really well. But it wasn't making me money either. So it was good. It was good, but it was pretty cool. Trevor was a rage king on Fortnite. He wouldn't get picked. Whoa. Fat Peter Math Teacher, welcome back. 57 months. Also appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. We are currently in the AMA, and isn't that interesting? Yes. We got another great question. What is your opinion on the Cubs' most recent acquisition from Houston, the Ryan Presley deal? I think that is great for the Cubs. I think the big issue with the Cubs, especially last year, was their bullpen. I think they have addressed that with one of the better options they could have went and got in terms of a closer back end guy. So that's going to help. And in terms of winning and being a guy who is used to the lights and playing in a big market and all that kind of stuff, it's fine. He's going to be fine. I know Ryan Presley really well personally. The guy's a dog. And then they also got Kyle Tucker, dude. Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley, two really great, really good quality players. Tucker's a prize, man. That guy's going to be, if he stays healthy all year, he's going to be their best player by a lot. So I really like the Cubs moves. I think that they changed up that division a little bit. Still think the Brewers are I just can't count them out, man. I don't know what it is about them, but I can't. But with the lack of Cardinals really making any moves, the Cubs are trying. They're trying to put themselves in position to win games, and I love it. I love it. Okay. What is the standout memory for you when you think about your career? The reverse boycott, closing the reverse boycott, is my first save of the year. It stands out so much because of the way that the organization and the fans were like struggling with the reality of what was going on. I was struggling in my personal life, and it felt like a release for both of us. And something snapped/clicked for me. Like I just kind of let something go that day. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but there was something like, I belong out here and I'm tired of being the way it is, and I'm going to go take care of it. And so like it represents a lot of, like, I don't know. I found a place of peace. So that's why that stands out. There's a bunch with the Twins as well of me. Like 2019, I came into big spots. There was a game where I came in and threw 2 innings in extra innings against the Braves, who were a very good team at the time. And I was, throwing 90. I hit 100 that day. I'll always remember that. Yeah, there was some times where I just like had to reach down deep and figure out a way to get out of it, and I did. My first big league save was awesome. It was on my birthday. It was in Oakland. Just getting called up. There's so much. There's just so much. Why did you decide to go to the A's at the end of your career? Because I want to be as close to home as possible, and the Mariners were not playing ball, pun intended, and San Francisco wasn't really interested either. So those are like, I'll be honest, those 2 teams are the 2 closest. There was nothing there. And Oakland, David Force saw a YouTube video and approached me, and I thought that was awesome. And I like David Force a lot. I think he is. It's hard to really see. It's hard to have that job and show like your skill set because of how limited you are everywhere. And I think he's a good GM and a good baseball man. So, do you think we'll play the entire season in 2027? The reason that this question is being asked is basically that's the year we have a new CBA negotiation. Now, judging by what Mr. Rubenstein said earlier in the show, he thinks there should be a salary cap. If the salary cap is the first thing brought to the table, it's going to be a rough negotiation. But there's a lot of things that need to be addressed. Namely, our pool is going to get readdressed a little bit. They're going to try to adjust it. Deferments are going to be a big issue. And the cap of the salary, the Soto deal is doing something. It's doing something. There are rumblings. And that's just a few things. Rule changes, the rule committee stuff, like all of these things. Though, I'll say it. Was I wrong about the clock? I was. No. I take that back. I never said it was a bad rule or that it was not going to be helpful. I think I was right to be annoyed and frustrated with it because it made my job way harder for a while, and it's already hard enough to do, and I wish it would have been rolled out a little bit more slowly. And I also hate the narrative that people, what with the MLB would be like, actually, we know for a fact that the pitch clock doesn't affect injuries at all, which is bullshit. That's a lie. That's a lie, and that's just not true, and there's no empirical evidence that that's true. And there was some study done, but they didn't even release the study. So it's like you didn't do the study. If you never released the results, you didn't do it. So anyway, those were the things I pushed against, Pat. But I will say this: it was a good rule change. It was a good rule change. I'm glad it exists now, especially as a viewer. I get it. I understand why everyone wanted it, and I understand why it is overall better than not having it. It did make pitching hard, though. It did, and I hated that. But again, that was just the world's mean way, not a this is a bad rule by its nature way. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. But when it comes down to answering your question, do I think that we will miss games? That'll take a unified player group, and I don't know if we have one. I just don't know. Because the way the last one ended, I think we shot ourselves in the foot pretty hard. We sent a message that was really going to be hard to undo, and that is when the subcommittee said 8-0. We're going to miss the first game of the season to really put pressure on this. We're going to use our ace in the hole. We're going to take this to the limit here, and then 26 of the 30 teams voted to to end it. Like we got blindsided, basically. Like because I thought for sure. I was on a team that voted no. 26 of the 30 teams voted yes. And that, to me, shows a distinct lack of understanding of the implications of these decisions. And it came down to, I want my money. And that's bad. That's not good. That's not good. So if they're not willing to miss a game, they're going to get fleeced. But I don't think they are willing to miss a game. So, do I think there will be games missed? I don't think there will be games missed. Do I think the PA will be in a stronger position after it's over than they are now? Not if it keeps going in this trend. And I don't think that I think that the negotiators and the people who run the PA can only do so much because the players at the end of the day have to be the force. And so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Do you think the Soto contract was worth it for that price? If it depends on. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this up. Let me read it again. One more of these guys, and then I have a couple other things for us, and then I will end with some more questions if we have time. Okay. Do you think the Soto contract was worth it at that price? Do I think Juan Soto's contract is worth that price? It depends on how you attribute value. So if we ascribe value based on WAR, for example, we say, okay. One WAR for a position player is going to be worth this many dollars. There's no way in hell he's worth that much. I don't care what your WAR is. No. It's funny. Shohei's was close. Was close. Even before the deferments. It was close. Because if he's pitching and he's hitting, his WAR was like ridiculous. It was like +6 above everybody. Like he was even then he was still a little bit above it. His pay was. So there's two factors, right? You determine value that way. You say, okay, on the field value is this because of these reasons. Then you have to do market forces like the negotiation. Two people are trying to get the same resource, so they're going to bid against each other. It becomes an auction at that point. Then, under that premise, whatever the price is how much he's worth because someone paid it. That's capitalism, baby. So, do I think on-field value? No. But that's not Juan's fault. No matter how good Juan is, he can't produce that much value. He can't. It has to be off the field too. Shohei is going to produce that much value because he has the off the field thing. He has the entire island of Japan funneling money into the major leagues. Soto doesn't have that. There's a lot of good Dominican players. Everyone loves Juan Soto. He is going to help that. He is going to make a lot of money off the field, but it's not even going to be close. So I think this is. He's worth that much because of the market forces and the bidding war happening. That He's worth that much because someone paid it. But if we're talking about on the field value, no, he's not. But I don't think anyone is. That's not his fault. It's not a knock on him at all. I just think that I don't think there is a player on the planet outside of Shohei Ohtani that's worth $700 million. And it's very unique in that way because he's Japanese. He's the best player and he's Japanese. You would need both those things. Okay, whatever. Chris. I put it through correction. There are 14,000 islands in Japan. It's not just one big island. I know that. You know what I'm saying. He's the entire country of Japan. They have a mainland. Leave me alone. How can you not be pedantic about baseball? You did. Yeah, you gotta do that. Well, actually. All right. Okay. Our last little piece of the show today, and thank you for all. Dude, these questions were fucking great today. That was incredible, boys and girls. Thank you so much. We have another segment called, and I'm going to use the same thing again. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Anyway, moving on. Brent Rooker. Look, he's on my screen. Let's talk really quickly about Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker, and he is, as many of you know, very good on social media. Everyone loves talking to Brent, about Brent, with Brent, so on, so forth. And recently, he had an exchange on a tweet with Jack Flaherty. Check it out. All right, here's the tweet. Has anyone ever seen the Shredder and the guy who didn't vote for Ichiro in the same room? So here's the top 10 shortstops breakdown. And basically, he's just talking crap and saying it's the guy who didn't vote for Ichiro. And then Jack Flaherty gets on. He goes, "Your tweets are incredible. A+. And then they go back and forth and like, hey, don't look up his stats, whatever. Okay. So, basically Flaherty owns Rook and they're talking about it on social media, which I think is awesome. Right. First of all, I love Brent Rooker for many reasons. I think he's an awesome dude. And he was always, he always backing me up as the veteran on the A's. But the big thing is, he can make fun of himself. He's self-deprecating. I think that's important as a professional athlete. He does it better than most. And so does Jack Flaherty. But this raised the question, oops, that's not right. Who did I hate facing in the box? Everyone. No, I'm just kidding. Who owned me in the box? Didi Gregorius owned me. He's my dad. Jan Gomes actually kind of owned me. Actually, that was a surprising one. I saw that like my last year. I was like, oh my God, Jan Gomes kind of owns me. Josh Donaldson could not get the guy out. Jose Altuve only got out one time. And that's because a infield hit was overturned. I don't think I've ever struck him out. He took me deep once. I think I gave up a grand slam to him or threw a homer and cashed a bunch of someone else's runs in, which feels bad. Now that I'm rethinking about that, but could not get those guys out. And more recently, like Pavin Smith, couldn't get him out for some reason. I remember he had like 2 or 3 hits against me or something. So something happened where I needed to get him out. I could not get him out. And then Luis Arias, I haven't faced him in a real game, but in live BPs. God damn it, so annoying. Hated it. He would not strike out. Carlos Santana gave me fits. He didn't have a ton of success, but it was always a battle. It was never fun. I was never felt confident. Never feeling confident. All right. And then my last thing I have here before we wind this thing down, this is your crazy trivia fact of the week. Every week I do a crazy stat or trivia thing or whatever. This week is a bet about general athletics, but it'll circle back. You'll understand. So I was watching a movie last night. I won't say what the movie is because then you'll know what the fact is. But it brought up it brought up this fact and then kind of displayed it. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And so I thought I would share it with you. Okay. So Jesse Owens is a legendary track athlete, known for winning 4 gold medals in the 1936 Olympics, Summer Olympics in Berlin. This is obviously the rise of Nazi Germany, and it was presided over by Hitler himself. And they were starting to push, they had been for a while, push the superiority of the Aryan race. This was happening. This was publicly happening, right? Jesse Owens is a black person, and he went on behalf of America, won 4 gold medals in track and field. Now, and basically said, oh yeah, are they? You know, and it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. But a lot of people don't know about the guy who took, or don't think much about the guy who took second in the 200 behind Jesse Owens, another American sprinter by the name of Mac Robinson. Okay, Mac Robinson lost the gold in the 200 by 0.4 seconds, which is not very much in a race, and definitely not very much in a 200, right? That would be kind of a big thing in 100, not in 200. That's pretty close. But Mac didn't win any gold medals, right, in anything else. He never really got the recognition for the achievement. He didn't get any endorsements. He really didn't make any more money. He just kind of went home and then ended up working as a janitor in an all-white school in his hometown. And that's pretty sad on its face. But Mac was known for never giving up hope that someone would get the recognition they deserve. And that someone just happened to be his younger brother. You know him as Jackie Robinson. I didn't know any of that stuff. That's nuts. So I want to give Mac Robinson the due he deserves, as he should. You won a silver medal in the Olympics in a race. That is incredible, sir. You are a hero, and your brother is as well. And Jesse Owens, it's good to think about you every once in a while too. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Jackie Robinson's older brother took second behind Jesse Owens in the 1936 Olympics. I did not know that. Wow, chat, thank you so much. I don't know if you guys are being facetious, but I appreciate it either way. And that is your crazy fact of the week. Jackie was also a track star. Yes, he was a absolute ridiculous athlete. Makes sense. It sounds like it ran in the family. But you got to give some love for Mac, the older brother. You know, sometimes people have to walk for other people to run. You know, literally. And that's not surprising one bit that Jackie was as good as he was at everything. But it doesn't surprise me one bit that his brother was very good as well. So imagine. And by the way, the movie, does anyone know the movie that I'm talking about that I watched last night that gave me that thought? Anyone at all? I want to see if you guys can guess that. What, are they not lined up? There you go, Danny. That rowing one, that's a good guess. Boys in a Boat? No. It was actually Molly's Game, surprising or not, because if you don't know or don't remember about Molly's Game, she was an Olympic, or she was trying to qualify for the Olympics as a skier. Should have some guests on. Mojal, thank you so much for mentioning that. We are going to start bringing on guests. Our goal to get basically what we're trying to do is integrate the ability to have guests and have it be really smooth. But my goal is to have the ability to bring on guests to do interviews, or just bring on a co-host even for segments at a time, starting when spring training starts. So we're shooting for in the next 3 weeks to have that set up and ready to go. And in the meantime, I might do a pre-recorded thing with somebody. I have an idea for that, but that is on the list. We're going to bring in writers, a bunch of YouTubers. I have a bunch of people on deck. I'm just trying to be really patient with this thing. But once the season starts, this thing's going to get crazy. We're going to get crazy up in this B, dude. Trying to pull an AJ Ramos. I don't know what that means. We want Romo. Yeah, we do. I did text him. Love the show. How often do you do this? I do this every Monday from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific time for now. Though I have kept it. I do have the intention to possibly add another 1 or 2 during the week if time permits. But right now, we are working really, really hard to just make sure this is the best version of itself and then expand from there. Guys, anyone who knows me knows that I cannot stop saying, guys, I'm going to do this thing, and saying it publicly without like knowing if I can do it. And I want to walk the walk now, not just talk the talk. So I'm trying really hard, guys, but sub to the YouTube channel because we have new YouTube videos coming out. The Bull Durham video is this close to being done. It is going to come out this week. I'm so excited. It's so good. It's great. We have another video coming out of that called Henry. I'm just going to say it. Henry, written by Henry. It is called The Curious Case of Nick Castellanos. It is quite something. So I think you're going to like it a lot. Stay tuned. That'll be on the YouTube video as well. So we have videos that we do that aren't just this on this show. And then we have videos that kind of live on their own with this show. Also, all the podcasts are on Spotify. I have 3 of them. Mayday. We have the companion pod with this. So if you missed the show ever, you want to go catch up what happened, Mayday on the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. We have Cut on the Diamond pod where I sit down one-on-one with players and we talk for an hour. We tell stories. It's a blast. New episode with Vinny Pasquantino is up right now. Cut on the Diamond is what it's called. And then I have the May Contain Action podcast with my friend Paul, where we do the movie stuff. I watch lots of movies, and it's kind of a fun little. We watch a movie every 2 weeks. We get together, we watch a movie, we have a guest, and we rewatch it, go through it, talk about all the goods, the bads, the nitpicks, the funny things, the bad things, the good quotes, all the little background fun stories about it and what it means to us, and it's just a good time. So go check that out as well. All of those podcasts are available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Just all you got to do is type in those names, and they show up. Press follow. You'll never miss them. And also leave comments and stuff because it helps. Also sub to the YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Woo! Posey or Molina? Oh. Posey better hitter. Molina better catcher. I don't actually know, dude. I think Molina may be the best defense first catcher of all time. So it's hard to make a case against him. Anyway, we got tons of stuff going. We're having a blasty here, guys. The show is just wrapping up, and I have another big announcement in the next couple weeks as well because I am partnering with somebody for some stuff to do some things, and it's going to be nutty. It's going to be peanut butter nutty and jellyfish. All right. Sorry, Mr. Sister Wives. You got to go watch the VOD. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week here on Mayday. Live on Twitch, live on YouTube every Monday. 1 Pacific time to 3 p.m. Pacific time. All right. Further ado, just please drink the water, watch the baseball, and I'll see you next freaking week because we do this all the time.